Hello and welcome to our channel where we explore the world of Odoo. Today we'll be exploring how to use Odoo's templating engine, the QWeb. QWeb is Odoo's templating engine that enables developers to create dynamic outputs in Odoo. It allows you to render complex templates with data from Odoo models and provides a powerful way to customize the user interface. If you're a beginner and you're wondering what is templating engine, well, simply put, templating engine is a software or a part of software which combine templates and data to create a formatted outputs. The most commonly known example is mail merge. In mail merge, when the template and data are processed, it will generate emails which follows the template, but with the data replacing the placeholders. For QWeb case, it generates virtually every UI parts in Odoo, from HTML fragments or pages to email and reports. The QWeb is an XML templating engine, which means we uses XML tags and directives in the templates. And additionally, QWeb specify its own specific tag and directives to control the output and the generation process. These directives are specified as XML attributes, for instance TIFF for conditionals, with elements and other attributes being rendered directly. To avoid element rendering, a placeholder element T is also available which executes its directive but doesn't generate any output in and of itself. One thing that we need to always remember is the QWeb has two implementations: the Python implementation on server side and the JavaScript implementation on the client side. For this tutorial, we'll focus on the basics which are used on both sides and several QWeb directives which are specific to the client side. We'll continue to use the Cheat Web module we've made in the previous video in the Using Odoo Web Framework series. If you haven't watched my previous videos in the series, I'd recommend starting from the beginning to get a solid foundation. Similar to before, we create a component and a new menu for our playground. Once that's done, we can focus on learning to use the QWeb. Let's start with the basics. There are two ways to define a template. The first is the one which we're already using, with XML files. Templates in XML files are defined in a template's root element using the T tags. The other way is to define it as template static property with the XML helper function. White spaces in a template are handled with three rules. First, consecutive white spaces are always condensed to a single white space. Second, if a whitespace-only text node contains a line break, it is ignored. Third, the previous rules do not apply if we are in a pre-tag. To display data, we use the TOut directive and the TSC directive. The TSC directive is used when you want to display dynamic text expression. The text is escaped to avoid security issues. The TOut directive is similar as TSC, but without the escaping. With TOut directive, text will not be escaped if it has been marked using the markup utility function. The QWeb allows creating variables from within the template. We use the tset directive to do this. There are two variants of the tset, using the tValue attribute and using the tElements body. Almost all T attributes values are declared in QWeb expressions. QWeb expressions are JavaScript expressions. With each variable in the expression will be replaced with a lookup in the corresponding component. The QWeb expression cannot be a statement and should be a simple expression which returns a value. For logical operations, QWeb provides special operators which is very useful to simplify the expression writing and make sure we create valid XML. For times when we need to add conditions for the rendering process, QWeb provides three directives to accommodate this: TIF, TLIF, and TElse directive. QWeb also provides iteration directive T for each to iterate data. T for each takes an expression returning the collection to iterate on, a second parameter T as providing the name to use for the current item of the iteration, and the third parameter T key as the key of the current iteration. Please note that the JavaScript implementation requires the T key directive to be able to properly functions. QWeb also provides several special variables for the loop, the current index, the current value, whether the current item is the first item, and whether the current item is the last item. One thing to note when working with loops is that T for each directive only accepts arrays, lists, or objects. It doesn't work with other iterables such as set. A workaround for this is to use JavaScript spread operator, which will convert the set into list. Often we need to set attributes on runtime. QWeb provides the TATT and TATTF directive for this purpose. The difference is while TATT uses expression, the TATTF directive uses string interpolation. So if we need to mix literals with dynamic values, the TATTF directive is more convenient. One of the most useful features of the QWeb is the ability to use other templates, in other words, sub-templates. To include the sub-templates, we use the tcall directive. When working with a sub-template, sometimes we want to pass content to the sub-template. QWeb provides a special variable which we can use inside the sub-template to arrange the placement of the content, the 0 variable. In addition to the special variable, sub-templates also can access variables which are declared on the main template. If the main template declares the variable inside the tcall directive element, the variable will be scoped to only for the corresponding sub-template. The QWeb also provides a way to modify existing templates with inheritance. There are two types of inheritance, primary and extension. With the extension inheritance, we modify the parent template without creating new template. All calls to the parent template will receive the modified version. On the other hand, with primary inheritance, a new template will be created. So we need to call the child template to receive the modified version. And that's it for now. We'll explore more about Odoo Web Framework in my next video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on my experiments and tutorials.